Welcome everybody to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards. It's me, Uncle E. That's my partner, the journalist Sincere. And today we have hip hop artists from Brooklyn to Atlanta. You might
Ew, he
remember
did
him
that.
from a group called Y'all So Stupid or
Hmm.
Mass Influence. We'll figure out which one of the two you might know him from. If you don't, then you're going to get to know him today. But none other than H2O is joining us tonight, man. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Hey, appreciate you. Thanks you for being here. Look
Yes,
at that.
sir.
Y'all
Yes,
knew
sir.
how you. He said I knew he's from Brooklyn. How you know that?
Just the way you talk.
Just the way you talk.
Nah,
Oh, okay.
nah.
But look, what's funny? I had like, okay, so I moved to Atlanta in 1990
You don't
from
sound like you're
Brooklyn.
from Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, there's a lot of guys out there that's like totally converted. You wouldn't think that they ever
Yeah,
saw New York.
right.
And so like, yeah, and I got there, and it was just like when Atlanta, it will accept you if you get with the people. The Southern hospitality is so real. A lot of New Yorkers went back. I felt this was the first time in my life I've seen black people just openly talking to you and be happy to meet you on the street or whatever, and just, yo, my house is your house, you know what I'm saying? And the women was just super extra friendly, and everything was just really peaceful. And I was just like, damn, this is how black people should be. Coming from New York, where the Decepticon Ed Koch era, this shit was a complete. I said, hey, look, I don't want no more where I just came from. I'm totally with committing to whatever lifestyle y'all got going on here. No, you don't have New York lifestyle. I know this. This is completely slower, but I'm going with it. And nobody, they never treated me like a lot of the New Yorkers. There's a lot of New Yorkers getting their ass beat in Atlanta because they would come down. Yeah, I'm from New York, son. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing. And it's like, wow, these motherfuckers will bounce your ass. Southern dudes is big. They be 15 years old, like, and will
Right.
fold your ass up. I didn't want none of that either. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
So I just don't have to
So,
fit in.
so tell us though a little bit. Before you did make that transition to Atlanta, you were in Brooklyn. Brownsville. I'm assuming maybe
Coney Island.
Coney Island. Okay, okay.
Uh
How
same
was that?
same.
How was that for you? Before you made that transition to Atlanta.
All right, so Coney Island, 35 blocks one way, three avenues, two other ways. Everybody's seen everybody at least 20 times in a month on the
Mhm,
island. You know what I'm saying? You
mhm,
may not hung with anybody. One set of projects, you got six buildings, and the next project is across the street. It was a lot of projects. And projects didn't have beef with each other. It was just territorial every block you went.
mhm.
So if you had to walk to the train station, coming from where I was coming from, 33rd Street, the train station, Stillwell Avenue, was like 14th Street. You could come across any old fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see the shot, stab, killed, live and die in the same day shit. It was all day. But for some reason, if they knew if I grew up there, so if they knew you was a nerd, or they knew you was the kid that they didn't want to fuck with, like, he ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna get on fucking with him? You know what I'm saying? He always been that way. Me, I was the art dude, so you know what I'm saying? I always did painting, you know what I'm saying? But the graph guys would never take me with them because I was too small, you know what I'm saying? But they liked me, you know what I'm saying? So like, I had a weird, guys like me type of shit. But then when I started rapping, and my friend brought me to a studio out there, the guy Sylvan. He was the same guy who did Mob Deep's demo, the one that you got, Flavor for the Non-Believe, the one that got them the deal on to on Fourth and Broadway, the first one.
Okay.
So we were working out of the same studio, and once I started writing rhymes and actually making jams, there was people I was running into that I'd seen on the street, but now all of a sudden it was like, damn, you just shot somebody like last week, and he was like, yo, your shit is dope, son. Like, I fuck with you, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, and so I'm quietly moving through the violent situation, and luckily, but I guess my artistry just saved me, you know what I'm saying? Until I couldn't be saved no more. Once all the little kids got guns, I was like, I'm out of here.
Hmm.
Can you give us
Once
a Can you give us a time frame?
yeah, so okay. So I'm 51. So I left New York. I left Brooklyn 1990 and moved to Atlanta. But I started working in the studio in '88
Okay.
and cutting jams. And the guy Sylvan, also one. He had a studio. He was like the Marley Marl of Coney Island. You know, everybody says somebody's a Marley Marl, but it's because that person centralized a lot of blocks of people that we'd have never seen each other other than in the studio, and it was a mind game, and I had totally had no business actually being there because, I wasn't a street dude. I wasn't at the clubs with everybody. I didn't have all the girls. I wasn't popular at all, but I could write. You know what I'm saying? I was able to write really well, and when I started, I had an aggressive rap style, destroying MCs. Blah, 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 blah. I had used big words. You know what I'm saying? I was really influenced by Ultra Mag, K Solo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like things. I had an unorthodox style with approaching it, and they was just like, "You using words like that, yo, I fuck with this little nigga." You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, "Yo, you should come hang with us." And I was like, "I'm not about that life. This is just rap." You know what I'm saying? Like this is all I do. I don't want to leave here and go do that. So I was like, man, there's no game in this rap shit. So that was 88. I started recording. Yeah. But I started writing rhymes in like 85. Around there. I went to high school in art and design in 86, 85, 86. Graduated from New Utrecht actually in the end. Because the Decepticons, they got on the train station at fucking graphics communication. So I had to ride the train, go back to Coney Island, and my stop was before there. So when them niggas got on, I was like, oh my fucking god, you know what I'm saying? And you know what that's like. The whole train platform go by, and then you see just mobs of kids, and all they doing is making their way to the front of the train. I said, yo, it's just a matter of time coming home before I'm next. I bought me look, on some sucker shit. I went and ordered me a BB gun off of Gander Mountain. You know what I'm saying? Off the catalog. It had a CO2 cartridge in it. Look, I got that motherfucker because I was scared to go to jail for actually carrying the gun. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, this shit right here will back them niggas up. And I never got the chance to use that shit. But I was always like, they come today, I'm fucking letting this whole damn shit off. And it never did, man. It never did, bro.
I think you might be the third guest we've had on, bro, that has mentioned the Decepticons on our show. You're like the third one so far.
It was real.
Yeah. I know. Them dudes. I mean, shout out to the Deceps, man. But
yeah, shout out to all of them. That's college niggas, fucking
women,
fashion
men,
dudes,
grandpops, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Straight up.
Man. So
man.
You said you were heavy into drawing and you were sort of in that field at first. What was it about, rhyming? What influenced you to want to pick up a pen and start rhyming?
Well, so I started, I guess, with Rapper's Delight and all that other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then I would hear the guys on the blocks, playing their boxes. Some had tapes of battles, you know what I'm saying? I heard the Cold Crush battles and was like, yo, what is that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh shit. I didn't really, it didn't hit me that this was started it. So when I got my turntables, you know what I'm saying? So I could play my records because I had to hit. That was the only way you was going to catch the shit. You know, I got tired of trying to take the shit off Red Alert and goddamn Marley Marl show because they would backspin the shit so much you would never catch the whole song. So I'm like, here's half the song, I can't even get it, and then I got a whole tape of one song so I can catch a verse here, part of verse here, part of verse there. I was like, man, fuck this shit. I got to get the damn record. For only that reason, I bought turntables. And then, so when I got the turntables, I would try to write the raps on all the sleeves. And when I got to Ultra Magnetics, Ego Tripping, MC Ultra, I heard that flow. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck these niggas saying, but I took all the time to write that whole rhyme out. Because before that, it was just everything was easier. You know what I'm saying? T-Lo Rock might have been the most complicated, but up until that changed the whole. They went that way, and they shit made sense. Because when I wrote it all out, I was like, damn, these niggas is dropping science. And then, when we be in school at art and design and stuff, cats would be trying to recite the words from, the latest shit that was on. They be like, yo, who know about the song MC Ultra? And nigga, when I repeated every rhyme for that shit, the whole classroom was standing, was like, nigga, that's the rhyme. And I was like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? I want to do this, but I want to write my own shit. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
that did it. So that was like 85. Yeah. That's yeah, because that 12-inch was 85.
Okay. And at what point did you you started, I guess, practicing and honing your craft and all of that stuff? At what point did you say, you know what, let me try my own rhymes out there and see what type of feedback I get?
Well, I had a lot of rhymes written, you know what I'm saying, and then I was torching them because I would say them to myself, you know what I'm saying. I had the 12 inches, so I had the instrumentals, you know what I'm saying. I'd have to make these tapes like everybody else was doing the pause tapes. I just
Yeah.
had the instrumental, just throw it on there and rock to the shit. And then when I understood what break beats was, you know, because I was going to the record shop so much, I would see people buying it because I thought it was just fly artwork on the shit. And I was like, yo, what is this record? Why everybody keep buying these records? And then one of the dudes at the radio record shop was like, yo, you don't know nothing about that shit? It's a break. Solo, give me that record. I'll punch some shit for you to show you what they doing. And I was like, that's where they getting that sound from? That's where they getting these shits from? And I was like, oh, whoa. So two at one. Anyway, I
Mm-hmm.
was always writing my rhyme from 85. I was just addicted, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, from that point, all the music that kept coming, it just kept pushing. Rakim came out, you know, Big Daddy came. Everything just kept getting iller and iller. Special Ed. Oh my God, Special Ed changed the bars. He was like the only guy freaking making 3 words rap at the start of a rhyme, another word rap with one of them shits in the middle, and then ending his shit the same line with some shit he started in the front. He was like, whoa, this shit is crazy. And so it just kept on getting more intricate. So it was one of my friends that I was working with. And nobody knew I rapped on the block at all. You know what I'm saying? At all. But he knew that I was writing rhymes on the train. He's like, yo, you writing rhymes? I was like, yeah, it's what I do every day on the train coming home. And he was like, yo, spit something. And I was like, what? He was like, anything. And I went. He was like, bro, you nice. And I was like, you think so? He was like, yo, I got to introduce you to my man, Sil. On the train coming home, he stopped and took me to Sil's house. I walked in there, he had studio equipment, microphones, it was in there, and all these other rap dudes some of the dudes I was scared of. I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? It was all at one time. And he was like, yo, he was like, this is my man H. He said, I'm trying to tell you, dude can spit. Pull up a track and let him go. And he was like, all right. And they did. And I went in, and everybody around was like, bro, the room got super quiet. And I looked around, I was like, y'all don't like that? And he was like, yeah, you just go ahead, do another verse. You got another one? And I was like, yeah. So he told me how to count the bars and put another one. The song was done. It was the first time I ever heard myself on a track. And the guy took me, Sylvan, my big brother, he took me in and said, you coming with me. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be under my wing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep you out of this street situation from these other guys that's rapping. I know you got your own shit that you like to do, but you coming with me. You know what I'm saying? And he took me as a real brother. You know what I'm saying? And when I left New York, that was the only thing I missed. He ended up producing a song on Y'all So Stupid Shit.
Mm.
Dope.
Dope.
Yeah, the
Was
telephone joint.
was the
Okay.
idea for you to be solo, or were you in a group earlier on?
Yeah, the idea was to be solo. I was H2O. I got it from a it was a drinking nickname that they gave me to drink 40s like water. So then I kept it because I started using it in my graph, you know what I'm saying? And then I changed it into an acronym when I started rhyming. It was harm to others. And then as I got older, it was here to observe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And that it just stayed as that, you know.
Right. Did you record demos and shop them as a solo artist?
No, actually, when I was recorded with Silv at his house, he had a manager that would come by, and who all the artists that he was working with, he'd be like, yo, give me the top joints of everybody that you working with. I'm gonna take them and shop them. And he would do that like, every 2 weeks. Nothing ever panned out, you know what I'm saying, before I moved to Atlanta. And it seemed, I was doing shows, they would take me to shows to do showcases and stuff. I was meeting people that way. It seemed like it was going to take a real long time and a whole lot of work because it just seemed like every time I left the house to go someplace else, there was just this other massive network of people that I don't know if I was built to talk to, you know what I'm saying? Because I was too close, you know what I'm saying? I had spent most of my life just moving at my own pace, doing my own shit. Here I am, I have my arts. A lot of people knew I did arts, but I didn't hang in big groups of people, So it was overwhelming, but it was exciting at the same time. But the circumstances of Brooklyn made me want to move out of Brooklyn. I was like, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Every train I get on, I'm going to work. These little kids getting younger and younger, and they got real guns. You know what I'm saying? The little 22s and Dillingers, they was putting holes in niggas and shit. I was like, my friend Larry got killed, and I was like, this ain't for me. I can't do this. And my cousin had moved to Atlanta. He was like, yo, come down here. And got down there. It was a whole new something. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing of what you see Atlanta to be today. It was totally quiet. It was like going from the loudest club party that you ever seen to crickets in the desert.
So by the time you make the move to Atlanta, I'm assuming you go down there, you're just getting settled in, checking everything out, making your rounds, all of that. At what point in time did you say, okay, let me get back to this music?
Immediately. Like,
right away?
Yeah, because it was still on me because I was recording demos.
Right.
And here's a true story about the situation in Brooklyn. So Poetical Prophets, Mobb Deep, before they became Mobb Deep, they were Poetical Prophets. They were cutting out of there. So Prodigy's mom, Fatima, was listening. Prodigy would take the demos of all the guys that was recording out of there. He was like, yo, I want to pick this kid H up. You know what I'm saying? This is a true story. His mother, his mother was calling me while I was in Atlanta. And she was like, yo, I'm trying to get you under the management. She was managing them at the time. These kids was like fucking this small. Like their clothes was like, it was insane that they was like they was. But anyway, I was supposed to come in under Fatima J management. For a year, I was on the phone with her at least once a month, talking to her just about. I didn't even know her musical background or nothing. Came to know that of talking to her, and then once they changed their name to Mobb Deep, they dropped her as management, and then I guess they went with somebody else. They changed their whole outlook of how they was going about the shit, and she didn't work out. So she called me when she was like, "Well, I'm out of the management. You want to talk to the mob." Say that's what they doing, holla at them. She gave me a number. I never, we never patched anything up, but that was a real thing. So like with that, knowing that I was like, I still got to continue what I was doing in Brooklyn, but find a way out here. Man, Atlanta had no hip hop scene. The sound of Atlanta's hip hop is bass music. Anybody tell you anything different?
MC Shy D.
Shy D. Raheem the Dream. Shy D from the Bronx.
From the Bronx, yeah.
Straight up. But he went down there and he adapted. Like I said, some New Yorkers came down and said, hey, look, I love what's going on down here. Shy D was the man. He had bitches and none of them bitches was busted. Them bitches was fine. Like you thought Luke had hoes. This nigga had hoes. I said, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that, what you doing to get that, but kid. You know what I'm saying? So so to make the transition, I had to find somebody who was hip hop, who was on my level, breaks, grassroots hip hop. I wasn't going to compromise what I was doing to fit in, you know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of weird mixtures of music that people was making down in Atlanta. It was like New York 1960 something for hip hop wise. You know what I'm saying? It was super basic down there. So I ran into Spearhead X through a girl who knew a guy who was dancing, and we were trying to catch each other. This is Page's era. We was trying to catch each other through a page. And I finally told her, tell him, put this code in there, H2O, that he know that's me. And one day he responded after maybe 6-7 months after I had moved to Atlanta. He finally called the page back. He was like, yo, what's up? You this nigga from New York? Shorty keep telling me that you trying to catch up with me. What you want? I was like, bro, I like your beats. I heard a beat tape from you from Ron. He was like, all right, so which one you like? I said, all of them. I said, I'll rap. You know what I'm saying? I'll play you some shit. I'll spit some shit for you on the phone. He was like, all right, wait till I get there. You spit something for me. He pulled up in his Festiva. Me and this nigga are brothers till this day. We 30-some years in brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Like real brothers.
Right. So from that take me back to forming the group. Is there a group at this time between you two? Is there another member being added on? What's going on with you and Spearhead X around this time?
All right, cool. So now this time is like 91, right? So because it took me 6 months to find him after I moved there in 90. So this is 91 early, mid about to go into summertime. Um, I had a friend. Y'all So Stupid started out with just me and my cousin Quabi, who never was in the group. I mean, who never actually made the recordings. It was just between me and him. And it was like he was gonna be my hype man. You know what I'm saying? But I like the crew aspect. You know what I'm saying? He was gonna be my hype man. And I had another friend, Shy Boogie, who ended up being a DJ. He was like, yo, look, I'm rolling just because I'm rolling, nigga, because I'm from New York. He was from Marlboro Project. So me and him bonded on that term. We was just good friends. None of these guys rap. You know what I'm saying? I was the only one who rapped. So, I painted our jackets, that logo right there. I painted that shit on my jacket. And they was like, yo, we a crew. I want one on mine. And then like it started through the jean jackets. We had jean jackets and that logo was on it. Like there must have been at least, about 15, 16 guys who had who had a Y'all So Stupid jacket. All right. The last guys that showed up, one was Buck. Buck lived up the street from me on a skateboard. He ended up at my house because of a girl that I was dating was best friends with a girl he was messing with. He ended up at my house and was just this rude nigga. Him and my cousin hit it off. They was friends. I never liked the dude because he was arrogant. I couldn't stand him. He had this obnoxious way about him and it just turned me off. You know what I'm saying? So one day I was on my way to the studio. He was at the house. I was like, damn, I told my cousin, Clyde, get your friend off the fucking couch, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's always here. Don't he got someplace to be? And he was like, yo, where you going? And I was like, I'm going to the studio. He was like, yo, let me just ride with you. And I was like, come on. You know what I'm saying? And then I found out he rapped at the same time. I was cutting a demo that I was paying for studio time. And he was like, yo, let me get some lines on it. And he kicked. And I was like, oh, shit. You can rhyme. All right, you ain't just a pain in my motherfucking ass. You know what I'm saying? And our friendship actually came from that. So that was me. So now the group was me and Buck. We was the rappers. Quabi, you know what I'm saying? My cousin. He was just I'm founder of this group. Y'all So Stupid. The name, he thought of the name, and it was because you know how it's not stupid up here or doing stupid shit. It was like, you know how we used to say, yo, that shit is ill. Yo, that shit is dope. That shit's
Yeah,
stupid, son. You know what I'm saying? Like that back then, cats used to say stupid like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah. You be like, yeah, that's stupid fresh.
that shit, right? You know what I'm saying? It was more on that tip.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So that's how it began. And then all the members came in through us working with Spearhead X, recording with him, and doing shows on a circuit down in Atlanta. You know.
Right. Take us back to I'm sure you were bumping into say Arrested Development and PA and Outkast. You came before a few of those groups. What was you witnessing as far as those groups coming up and other groups around that time?
Good question. All right, so Outcast. Let's start with them. They were younger. They were younger. So like you wouldn't see them at the shows performing, right? One of them, you know what I'm saying, like a big boy, you would see him with Goody Mob at the time was Lumberjacks. They was the older brothers. So Lumberjacks was Cujo Goody and Timo. Now them two we saw everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It was like, they didn't fuck with everybody, but they was like, yo, we gonna hold this shit down. They was anti New York rappers. They was tired of niggas rapping out, try to rap like they was from New York. It was really on them. You know what I'm saying? And when you get in ciphers with them, they was like, we gonna speak how we speak. You don't like our slang, nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? And they was the only ones on that shit. And every time I heard them rap over East Coast beats, I was like, that's like a marriage in heaven right there. The lean that they got on these lyrics, on these beats, ain't something New Yorkers could do. We ain't have that kind of word. You know what I'm saying? You could take trash, you know what I'm saying, make that shit with, line that shit with, you know, any old kind of words that just a slang. You can make something rhyme that don't
Right, right.
normally sound the same. And they had that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, I can't do that any old fucking way. Admired them from that, but because they were so, proud about they had something improved from that day. And this was, I ran into them first in like late 91. Okay. My first time I remember seeing Big Boy would have been later 91, but they wasn't, you didn't know they rap. You
Mm.
only knew these two, you know what I'm saying? And then CeeLo, I started seeing him like at Boss Town, because that's what Stankonia is now, but it was Bobby Brown's studio there.
Mm.
Spearhead X had connections. He was like the governor of the city. I couldn't have ran into a better person to take me around the city. He DJ'd in all the strip clubs, and he knew all the DJs everywhere, all the radio stations. Like it was like any place that you needed to go that was able to do something and promote your shit. He had a key to it, and all he needed was a group that he was proud of, and that was us. So we went everywhere, and that's how we was able to run into Dallas and LA Reid. That's, you know, you wouldn't get into that. But for to stay on topic, um, Lyrical Giants was Bone Crusher. He had a group. It was him and Baby. You know what I'm saying? They had a group together. Those guys we saw on the circuit with us while we were playing live venues. Um, and but not no Outcast. Now PA Reese, the producer and the lead rapper from that was my man. You know, we saw him everywhere too. So like I said, these were the older brothers. We hung with them. Outcast was much, they was like younger. You know what I'm saying? Like they looked younger. They wasn't that much. They were about what, 4 years younger. Anyway,
Mhm.
at that time, if we in our 20, if we 20, them niggas is like 15.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So so that's how the circuit would move. We never bridged behind closed doors because they were very protective of their neighborhood. You had to go to East Point, you had to go to SWATs, you know what I'm saying, and hang out with them. And I'm, you know, my southern connections wasn't hood deep. I only had X. You know what I'm saying? The X's thing was, nigga, I'm the king of Decatur. And this is where we at. You know what I'm saying? So why you even going over there? You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And it was still territorial, but not in a hostile way. It was
Right.
just like, yo, when we get our shit together, we gonna see you. That was how it was. So we didn't have the unity, but we had Lil Jon. Lil Jon, okay. Lil Jon was the glue to all this shit. Lil Jon had base parties at his house where Outkast and, you know, Ludacris at the time, you know what I'm saying? He was Chris Lover wanting
Right,
to
right.
be on the radio at the time. This is like 92, okay, the year. This is 92. This is before any of these guys were any fucking body. You know, they were either on college radio at the most, right?
Mm.
And that was on a one night of the week, right? Holding down hip hop. Lil Jon was the only person bringing East Coast DJs and music groups in. Him and another collective of people. He was the glue bringing that shit. You wouldn't think so. You know what I'm saying? And anytime I hear somebody slander Lil Jon and saying, man, it was because that crunk shit, that other bullshit, I said, no, you're not going to this dude. This motherfucker was bridging the gaps. He brought hip hop to Atlanta. He was one of the guys that lost a lot of fucking money bringing Clark Kent, Kid Capri, you know, you name it. Speech was down with it though. Speech, you name Speech. Speech and DJ Kimmett is my man to this day. Uh, what's her name? Dion Ferris. Cool chick. You know what I'm saying? Coolest chick. Could blow her ass off. All these guys had a little circuit together because we didn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? The venue owners wasn't letting you play hip hop music there. They didn't even know what the fuck it was. You know what I'm saying? You showed up with turntables. They was like, nah, if you ain't got no band equipment, you can't play here. So it was controlled like that, you know, in Atlanta. So everybody had to bridge together. So you would have, so if a hip hop artist, hip hop played on a bill at a venue, you would have a couple of R&B bands, a rock band, you know what I'm saying, southern rock bands, you know what I'm saying, a grunge band. But we all looked at it as music, and everybody stayed and watched each other's shows. And it took everybody bringing somebody from somewhere to pack the venue. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
how Atlanta was. It was more like a musical union. And
Mm.
I miss that shit, man. I really miss that shit.
Right. You mentioned demo early before this particular story. What labels did you shop, and how did you catch the ear of Dallas Austin to LA Reid?
Okay, so I manage a shop too in New York before I had moved, he had shopped to, I think he shopped to Profile. Of course, everybody goes to Def Jam, you know what I'm saying? But he was getting responses from Select
Mhm.
at the time. So he had a way in there, but they was only one to do 12 inches. You know, Selector was not trying to do no albums. I didn't care. I was like, yo, whatever, you know, Chiroc's on there, like you know, still a whole lot of dope people on there. And but nobody ever really got on from that. How the thing worked with Dallas, X being the man in Atlanta of hip hop, you know what I'm saying, knowing grassroots hip hop breaks, you know, sampling and all this stuff, because nobody else was sampling there. Nobody ever. He was the one. Um, Dallas discovered him, I don't know, through high school or whatever. They, you know, they grew up to somewhere in the same neighborhoods together. You know, they ran into each other. The roller skating rink. That's how they knew each other, from the roller skating rink. That was another place where everybody met up at. So they knew each other from there. So Dallas, when he was producing Boys the Man, brought X in. He's like, yo, look, I don't know nothing about these beats. I need you here to be my beat man. So most of the drum tracks that you hear for ABC, Boys to Men, TLC, Spearhead X is in there. All right, which
Wow.
explains, you know, a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? So we knew TLC. We had demos that we made as Y'all So Stupid shouting out TLC way before they even got signed to Pebbles. You know what I'm saying? So like all of us were running around and, you know, just hanging out doing music.
Right.
So we got on for Dallas through X. You know, X finally said, "Yo, I got a good couple of songs. I want to play you." You know, and Dallas didn't know nothing about hip hop really, so he was just like, "All right, you keep playing me this stuff for the, you know, but what I'm supposed to do with it? I'm R&B, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I can't do nothing with that." One day, what changed Dallas' mind? So X was playing him demos like it seemed like every time he went to the session with him. We was like, "Yo, what's up with your man? You know what I'm saying? I thought you said you was gonna play it for him." He's like, "Yo, I'm playing for this nigga. They ain't fucking checking it, man. That nigga know what the fuck he doing. I don't know what we gonna do, but fucking, we gonna keep cutting and we gonna keep going to strip club. I'm gonna keep fucking putting the tape in this nigga hand." And then one day, he got an opportunity through L.A. Reid. Clive Davis decided that he wanted to form a hip hop part of Arista Records. Only person he knew in black music, and that where that might have had his street to the ears to the ground, was L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid's like, "I don't know nothing about this shit. Yo, Dallas, come here. You know something about this hip hop shit?" He was like, yo, actually, I know I got a group over here, you know what I'm saying? I got another group over here that I hang out with, you know what I'm saying? He's like, "So you want me to put you in front of them and see what's up?" And he was like, "Yeah, bring them to the studio." And I know this is the same way Outkast got their deal. We went to LA studio at his house and put on a beat. He was like, "Yo, rap right here in front of me. Let me see." And we had done so many shows as Y'all So Stupid performing was just like, "What? Okay, cool. Bam." And he liked it. And he was like, "Yo, all right, I'm interested. I like what I hear. I like what's going on with this hip hop energy." He was like, "You guys perform shows? Let me go see. You got a fan base?" And we was like, "Hell yeah." And he was like, "Let me go to one of these shows." We had Cypress Hill playing at fucking the Masquerade. That shit was packed. It was about, I mean, at that time, packed would have been like 1,500 people in a venue. For Atlanta, that shit was massive. We's
Right.
on the bill. He sits in the back. There's L.A. Reid, Dallas Austin, all these other motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That you would have never seen ever in a hip hop venue. You know, they took up the whole spot. Everybody's like, "Oh shit, it's Dallas. Oh shit, it's L.A. Reid." You know. Anyway, we rocked the show and they was like, "Yo, we're gonna sign you right here." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Holy shit, we on." And it was just and all it was right place, right time,
Right, right.
circumstance. Had nothing to do with, you know, "Oh man, yeah, I got no deep story to it." It's just brothers
Timing,
working it out. Yes, timing.
timing and grinding. Damn, that's crazy, man. So now, did X have any idea as far as the business side of things?
Yeah, he knew what he was supposed to get paid.
That's it. Yeah. Because I mean,
He knew.
I'm assuming once you guys sign, now you're on a label, and there's a whole lot of paperwork and stuff. How did you guys maneuver through that?
All right, so good question again. X said, "Look, I'm gonna isolate this production situation. I'm gonna be the only producer on this bitch and get this producer check." And he knew that from working with Dallas, right? So plus him being our man, we was like, "Yo, but I'm my man Sylvan in Coney Island. I need to get at least let him do half." You know what I'm saying? Because he had a heater. You know what I'm saying? He had New York sound like man, it was great. It was awesome. Anyway, Silver, I mean X was like, all right, and I think behind the scenes, he always dapped up Silv, but I don't know if this behind the scenes, not that he was hating on Silv, he was just trying to make sure that he got it. So he was always in the studio pulling up a track, and but he would always beat us to the studio. We get there, he'd be like, "Yo, so come on down, I got this ready." You know what I'm saying? Until it was like, oh man, he had the whole thing already sewed up. And I knew that's what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? At hindsight, meaning after the album was done, I was like, huh, it's ironic how you got all of the stuff. And the only thing Sil was able to get was a tape of a beat that I had took from Sylvan, and it became an interlude because we was doing jokes over the phone.
Right.
But
Yeah.
how did what was the connection with the King and I?
Ah, King and I. So Claude Austin was the A&R of Rowdy Records before Rocky Buchanan in New York got it. Rocky's a great dude. I like Rocky. Um, Claude was going back and forth to the New York and looking for scouting. They told him to go find some more hip hop shit. So he was hanging out, and I know he ran into somebody who pointed to him to Madge. And once he got a hold of Madge, you guys, I saw you guys had interviewed him. Is there a whole thing to that you're gonna put out?
Yeah, there's a story behind that, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, we
That's
got
magic.
story. Yeah,
We
Oh,
we got
good.
stories.
we
It's
got a couple
good.
more clips to put out, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yo, Mag is my man, though. You know what I'm saying? Love that dude. Super animated. You know what I'm saying? Like, always talking to him about beats. But he pulled him in and he said, I want these guys. They came down to Atlanta, cut some of their album, and knew they was the only other ones that got production credits on it. So as they was recording some of their shit, I was like, Madge was going through his beats and stuff in the studio while we were recording. In between sessions, he'd be like, "Yo, let me play you something," and he'd pull up shit, and I'd be like, "Dog." When he was making beats in front of me, pulling that shit, like his shit was organic. He knew what he was doing. You could tell he was a DJ for real. And I was just like, bro, we gotta get you on the album. So the only way we was able to segue Madge into it was because he was signed to the label. That was the only way. And I don't even know if X liked it that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think X was like, right. You know what I'm saying? But it's all fair. You know what I'm saying? Madge gave us 2 bangers on the album, and I loved it. So that's how he came in. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay,
but our bridge with Madge and Izzy came organically from us just being around each other and me us being a fan of them more so than they was of us. You know what I'm saying? They was like, yeah, Izzy a lyricist, so he's
right,
like,
right.
ain't none of y'all got no bars. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
there's nothing for me to be a fan about here. I understand Madge, you know what I'm saying? Madge is DJ, he plays records, and now y'all got some records, you know what I'm saying? Izzy was never letting that shit go.
Right.
Man.
My
So
man too.
you now you guys are early on. Like I mean, like you said, they didn't have any idea really as far as what they were doing with hip hop music,
Mm-mm. Oh
right?
no.
So did you
Yeah.
guys have total like freedom as far as your creativity and everything? Was it did they give you any like nah we want this type of music or this type of record, or did you just guys just go?
That's a good question. Yeah, now they did. They let us do so we did the album. We did Van Phil Pakistan's about 3 times. Right? So the first time it had Brooklyn all over it. Brooklyn niggas, because I was from Brooklyn. Logic, who joined later, was from Brooklyn. Shy Boogie, my man, that didn't do, and we put him as the DJ, but was my partner from day one. You know what I'm saying? He was from Brooklyn, so we all had that in common. And then plus,
Mm.
there was a lot of New Yorkers still in Atlanta with nowhere to go, but we would all kind of gather together when we showed up places in public. Like, oh shit, what's up? So there was a lot of references to Brooklyn on our stuff, and X and Dallas, Exmoor was like, yo, how y'all niggas is all on this record talking about Brooklyn, Brooklyn, but you live in Atlanta, nigga. Yo, nobody want to hear that shit. And I was like, but that's where we from. You know what I'm saying? You know, we Atlanta based, but he was like, nigga, I take y'all to the strip club every time. You see what we doing. We see what we about. You don't put no shit like that on here. Niggas gonna hate you. And we was like, all right, I'll give you some leeway on that. That was internal inside the crew.
Yeah.
But as far as the label with creative control, they were like, look, I don't hear no hit records. You know what I'm saying? Dallas only knew how to listen to hit records. You know what I'm saying? Clive Davis was like, yo, I need a hit record that I could drive the radio, put in my machine, you know, put my quarter in and let that bitch play. And you know, and it works. Right. And we didn't have none of that because all our shit had curses the fuck in it. So number one, you know what I'm saying? At that time, if you had that many curses in your shit, like, you know, champ. It's like, I can't play this shit on the radio. And so, you know, we had songs that we had to change and make more friendly and all this other stuff. And then I think after doing it so many times, we just got to the point as a group was like, fuck it, you know, just put on another tape. We coming out the strip club straight into this bitch, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. Put a tape on, let's roll. Let's have fun. You know what I'm saying? At least let's do that. If we can't decide what's a hit record, what's a not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let's just cut some music and have fun. And that's when the interludes and stuff started coming and, you know, that's when I guess it took more of a turn of, you know, y'all so stupid being stupid. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
Because you recorded so much, you just like, hey, you know, fuck it, let's just let loose. I'm gonna have fun. If we don't walk out of this deal, if we don't walk out of here with an album that they're looking for, fuck it, let's have fun, make most of the moment, and that's what
Right.
we did. And it was real. We really had fun making that record.
What kind of reaction did you guys get when 85 South dropped?
Man, people in Atlanta hated it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the following that we had in Atlanta didn't like it because they were like, yo, this ain't the shit y'all was rocking on the underground. It was like the last song that we recorded. So they didn't like it. They didn't play it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats on the East Coast, up especially in New York, they was like, man, get that shit out of here, man. Y'all motherfuckers got brand new be a record playing in that bitch record playing. And that shit is like, you know, for them, that shit was like, come on, like voodoo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be doing this shit. But on the West Coast, in which we found out towards the end of our contract, towards the end of our signed session to the label, we got to the West and did a run. It was a whole nother story. These cats was like, because they lived that way, that lifestyle, the fun spirited, you know what I'm saying? They didn't care about the hardcore shit. They had space, they had trees, they was using their imagination, they was inspired by hip hop. Hip hop was hitting them in a whole nother way, was blooming and blossoming with them. So they was open to all kinds of cutting edge shit, anything that was outside of yo son, you know what I'm saying, and hardcore, you know what I'm saying? Anything that was against the New York subway minds, that is, you know what I'm saying, the New York state of mind. They
Mhm.
was with that shit. And here we coming from a neutral place. They like, oh shit, they sound like, you know what I'm saying, where we would be at, you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking with this. They were able to grab onto it and they loved us. I remember when we got out west, the first people that we had met, we was looking for the Far Side because we thought we had identified with them at that time as the finish of the album. The last three songs of the album, we had got the Far Side album like right when it came out, and was like, holy shit, these dudes are fucking on it. They gods to us, you know what I'm saying? The way we looked at it at the
Mhm.
time. So we got out there, you know, LA attitudes, everybody's all, "Man, get off my dick." You know what I'm saying? All kinds of shit like that. So it was really wishy-washy. And the last thing you would expect is the dopest niggas out there was like fans. We ran into Hyro. I ran into Festo, and he was like, yo, Festo. But he had been listening to that blue tape on our promo tours all this time. Was like, who the fuck is these niggas? So we, you know, we knew a club, a guy knew a club out there, and he was like, yo, all the hieroglyphics be in here. We was like, huh, man. After we done ran into the attitudes that we ran into with some of these LA dudes out here, we don't know how this is gonna go. We'd rather deal with the regular people who ain't artists because they love the music. Anyway, we got to them, and it was crazy. They was like, yo, man, we fucking love your shit. Festo came back to the hotel, sat with us the whole night. It was like till the break of dawn, and we met the rest of them, and it was like, y'all niggas are so fucking nice. How could y'all really even fuck with it. They was like, yo, man, your shit is the beat, son. You know what I'm saying? That shit just be riding. We didn't ain't y'all talking about slapping hoes and fucking bitches. That's what we do out here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gives no fucks about a hoe. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what I'm saying? And in my mind playing is X saying, yeah, nigga, this what we do, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Without that, I would have never been on some yo, fuck a bitch, fuck that hoe, you know what I'm saying? Because we wasn't saying that shit in New York. I mean, I didn't use the word nigga until I got to Atlanta. It was never in my raps. You know what I'm saying? But they saying my nigga in Atlanta. And I was like, yo, what's up with that? Y'all calling girls bitches to their face? You calling them hoes? What? You know, and it was a way of life.
Right.
So,
what was the concept behind the album title, Van Full of Pakistans?
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So here's a song. So it was a analogy. So instead of saying a song, you had a song full of problems, right? So if you know the Middle Eastern countries are always at war with each other. Pakistan number one. You know what I'm saying? If you put a bunch of Pakistanis in a van, you got beef out the ass. So it was like problems, issues. So instead of song full of problems, you had a van full of Pakistanis, and that was the analogy.
So
did you guys get any heat about that, or was it?
Everybody kept on saying, what was they said, I never understand the relations to Pakistan. There's nothing about on your album that has any reference to it. What is the thing? So, you know what I'm saying? And we'd always tell them, they'd be like, why didn't I think of that? Maybe I'm stupid. I said, no, it's nothing about y'all being stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
On
Yeah, man.
throughout the album, you guys, I saw, there was a lot of sampling being done.
Yeah.
On in particular on the song, what is it? On and On, you guys had about 8 to 9 different samples on there.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect you guys as far as budgets and did you guys did you spend all
Yeah,
the budget on clearing samples, or what's the deal?
man, we probably still when we stop out, they probably still recouping on them samples because every one of them bitches hit. Like, man, motherfuckers wanted their money on every last one of them samples too, man. But they cleared them. That was the crazy part. So we had Clive Davis money. You know what I'm saying? They were into paying for the production of an album if they could see the receipts. Arista was going to write it off anyway. They did it for years. Most of the artists was linked to Arista some way anyhow, and I believe it was an internal job anyway. It just so happened the samples that we used was in somewhere in their catalog. Clive was like, yeah, I get that cleared. I get that cleared. And I never saw samples get cleared by a mass so much. Of all the people's albums, I got pushed back for one little sample, one little thing. Like you said, I'm glad you said that. You know what I'm saying? But that was internal politics that worked that out. That's the might of the mighty Clive Davis. Ooh, Lord.
Damn, that's
I heard
crazy.
him.
Because
I heard
uh-huh.
I heard that fool on the phone one time talking about if you don't play this record, you won't get Whitney Houston no more. He was talking to people at radio like that. And I was like,
the God.
the Don.
The Don.
Before we move on from that album, just give us a best memory of recording that particular project.
Calling when the phone call shit started. The phone call shit started. Okay, we came back from strip club again. We was waiting for an engineer to come. X was like, "Yo, fucking pick the phone up." You know what I'm saying? We gonna catch niggas on the phone talking shit about y'all. He's like, "I bet you we gonna catch somebody." Everybody we knew that he picked the phone up, so he was trying to get them to talk dirt about us. And he caught them in real time. He called my girl, and then he called Claude Austin, Dallas's brother. He called Elope, another guy that was in Dallas's group. And then he got down to, he said, you know what, all these niggas gonna say they gonna play it safe because, I'm on the phone and y'all my niggas and shit. Fuck that. I'm gonna call my cousin. And he called his cousin and he wasn't there, but his mom's picked the phone up. And she was so country. She was like, he started getting in the road. He said, "Is Pete there? Where Pete?" And she's like, "Pete gone." He was like, she said, "Who's this?" "Charles." He said, "Charles Strike. The one of your husband fucked out that money, child. You know me." And And she was going along with it like, I don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? So he was really going on with her, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't stop laughing because she was like dead ass serious, like, whoever this is looking for Charles, because looking for him because of his money and who you are, don't come looking for me. And she was worried out her ass that he was gonna do it. And he called her, and then we cut some more joints, and we was laughing our ass off. We cut what did we cut after that? I don't know, I can't remember. But we cut some more joints, and was like, yo, call her back again. He was like, yo, let me see Damn G. That was her name. That was who she really was. And she was like, and then he hung up on her because he got her so inflated in the conversation that he hung up on her. So she was sitting at the crib boiling, waiting. And then we called her back. We made him jam, and he forgot how he left the conversation. He was like, "Yeah, we speak to G." She was like, "Who the hell is this?" And she was like, "Oh, I told your ass such and such." And man, she went in, and that, like right there, to see it. He wasn't making fun of her, you know what I'm saying, but he was pranking her, and like, she was for real. You know what I'm saying? So what you heard from her was like, yo, you show up at my house, nigga, I'ma fuck you up for real. You know what I'm saying, man? And until this day, that part had me, it was just raw funny to me because I didn't expect that to happen. That was not what I expected during the minute of session. And it happened to be something that like everybody, no matter what, they was like, yeah, let me speak to him and G. And I was like, man, he was like, you ever met Emma I said, never met her. Never met her. We couldn't go over there because he couldn't go tell her, you know what I'm saying? It was me pranking her because, yo, girl was like, I see you, whoever the fuck this was. The way the conversation really ended was on some, I see you, motherfucker, put that nigga, this motherfucker shit. Yeah, yeah. She was like that. She had gotten there. I was like, we can't put this on the album. They ain't gonna let that shit fly, you know?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I remember that skit like it was yesterday. I'm about to pull it out after this interview, to be honest with you.
Hey, look, it's great. It's fucking funny as shit, man.
So tell us, did Rowdy Records give you guys the push you needed, and how long was things going well before the end of the deal?
They would have, but we had an internal beef. All right, my man. All right, so Colin Wolf that did production on he produced Deep Cover. He had moved into the Dallas Austin uh, complex, Dark, at that time. This is about '93 now. He's part of the team. Tim and Bob, R&B producers, is part of the team. Randy Rand. He had like a whole thing set up. You know, everybody had a studio room. All right, so you know what I'm saying? The group was like, yo, man, wild checks we ain't getting no checks on no royalties, you know what I'm saying? We ain't get the rest of our advance, you know what I'm saying? X got all the money on the production, you know what I'm saying? We was like, yo, what's the hold up, man? You know what I'm saying? Rent through, you know what I'm saying? We didn't realize that all this time, hold the job down as long as you can, you know what I'm saying? This record, just because you sign don't mean your life is saved. It's an investment. Nobody explained that part to us, but this is what we was thinking. So being ignorant, Shy, he was just like, yo, man, fuck these niggas. These niggas been robbing us all the time that we've been here. This is how every hip hop story is this. You think the label jerked you, but you signed the contract. You know what I'm saying? Your lawyer read it to you. You might have been smoking weed and just like, all right, cool, where I sign at? Where'd I get the money? This is what you thinking first. You wasn't thinking about every part. And most of them won't. We wasn't. So he said, he had an MPC in the studio. It was getting repaired. And Shy took it, and X. We jumped in X's car. X was like, "Yo, they gonna miss that shit." You know what I'm saying? You need to put that shit back. I don't even know if that's Dallas's. And Shy was like, "Fuck that shit. I'm gonna sell it, get some money, and then we gonna do what we do." And we rode off, and that didn't end up well because they had video cameras, and it showed, him walking out with the thing, and it was a personal beef. And Dallas felt like, "Yo, I looked at y'all like my brothers." You know what I'm saying? Like it was more like, nigga, y'all stayed in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom cooked for y'all. Y'all in my family. I got what I got is what I gave y'all. I didn't have shit myself. You know what I'm saying? Just because you see these things going up around me, this is investments to get more money. But actually, what's in my pocket, what I have, that's why you see me wearing my clothes day to day like this, nigga. I don't have shit, and here y'all taking from me when I'm trying to help y'all. I'm trying to fight for y'all because the record sales ain't doing. But fuck the machine. Dallas was actually on our side. He was like, I don't care about the machine. I don't care about pop records. I got pop records with these other guys. I want to fucking push something new. I want to push, an independent scene, an independent thinking. I don't want you guys to conform to the radio. He never, what I'm saying? He never tried to sit there and micromanage just like that. He, even though he wanted to hear like a hit record, something that they played in, all the DJs, hip hop DJs wanted to play is what he mean. I want a record that fits in this rotation with your guys, not on the radio. Anyway, he felt real burnt by it. And at the time, Buck and Logic, they was having super beef with each other because Buck was an asshole to everybody, and those two, they didn't mix after a while. They was getting out of cars, fighting, fist fighting, banging each other head on the street, and I was just like, God damn, man. And road manager was like, Ace, this is your group, this is your dream. Don't let this shit fall apart. And I was like, grown man, I can't do nothing. I didn't realize I should have fucking grabbed the whole of the whole thing and I should have been a leader of the group because I was. And, they all did look up to me, but I was, more like, yo, let's just, y'all grown. Come on, man, let's work this shit together. It's a team thing. And so that burned the bridge. So we was going to do a third single because Van Full of Pakistan did good. You know what I'm saying? Once again, we ended up back west again. After that song hit the radio out there, I ended up in a damn Jeep with Corrupt and Snoop because Molly G was on our label at that time.
Illegal.
We was on Illegal, yes. We was on a road trip with them out west and ended up there. He was like, yo, that is my joint. And he was reciting the words and me sitting there like, Corrupt. And Dad's in the back and Snoop in the other seat. And I'm sitting there like, are you serious? This shit was just, I couldn't imagine people of this caliber liking it. But music hits music. You know what I'm saying? They hit you where it hits you. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, damn, we got to get back to the lab. And then this happens. And then they just said, hey, look, this is where we're going to sever our ways. You know what I'm saying? Because it was personal at that point. You know what I'm saying? The deal was personal. We got signed for a personal reason. So we only got ousted for a personal reason. And I was disappointed. I was pissed off that I let the damn car just crash off the river in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And so it was unfortunate, but they was willing to invest more. They would have.
How old were you guys again at that time?
21, 22.
21.
Yeah, so 93, I was 22. Yeah, I was born in 71. So 93, I was 22. It sucked because all of that grinding from the time I landed out of Atlanta, this was an everyday thing, the shows and the steps. Like once I ran into X, you're talking about a lot of things happening every day. You know what I'm saying? So the 2 years that it took for that record to come out, it was the build up to that, and then it just crashed so fast. The album came out, and 4 months later, we was kicked off by our homies.
Right.
So after the lineup change, where'd you end up finding yourself?
What you mean lineup change?
I imagine you said two of the group members were beefing. I imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that one took care of itself because here we are. We got to fend for ourselves. I'm not taking care of no grown ass men, so I would have got me a job at the damn nursing home, something low key. And the great thing about Atlanta, I want y'all to know this shit. Great thing about Atlanta, yo, you can rise, fall, rise, fall. Rise, fall. Every time you will find a league of people that's like, yeah, man, get back in the game. Fuck this shit. I've never seen like people rally around the underdog and push them to the forefront. You know what I'm saying? Like here I am, like super fucking depressed about this shit. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go get this job. I need to pay my bills. I'm gonna get my own apartment too, because we was all living together. Number one, y'all gonna have to find yourselves. Since y'all all crashed this shit, everybody take care of yourself. And I went and got me a crib, you know what I'm saying, and started doing my artwork. And that first person to give me a fucking fat paycheck was L.A. Reid, because he remembered me drawing in the studio. He called me and said, yo, look, I got this group that I just signed. They need a logo. Group turned out to be Outkast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. So I submitted like many sketches. I said, you got to give me some music so I can feel where they're going. He had just that one song, The Players Ball. He was like, we just testing to see the waters to see if they get off the ground. He said, but I just need some representation for him to put on this album. And then I was like, I kept on going with stuff, and he would get it from me, show it to them. They would disagree with it, and then he would give me feedback. Well, they ain't liking it. They ain't liking it, and then we went back and forth like for about a month every week, you know what I'm saying, with stuff. And I was like, can you put me in a room with them though? So I could vibe with them and find out what's up. And he was like, I will. He said, on some next shit, but right now we got to get this thing going. I got this Christmas album coming out. So he let me do the t-shirt design that they wore in Players Ball. So on the front it says "Touch of Class." On the back it has a illustration, an ill illustration, and I put my name on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So like anyway, that was my first gig art wise, and I was like, holy shit. And he paid me like 2 G's for that shit, and it was a hand drawn, and I was like, whoa. And he told me, he was like, you got a talent. He said, you need to follow that. You know what I'm saying? He said, this rap thing, this music thing, it has many dynamics to it. If you see, you rose and fall, you lasted. He said, but follow that. You know what I'm saying? And he kept throwing me work. So here I am, you know what I'm saying, staying in the mix with all these guys as they coming up and they seeing me, but they respecting me on this. And I'm like, once again, one of the only guys for Miles who's doing artwork. You know what I'm saying? So I stayed on my pen, and that kept me in the game with other people still. And that's what gave me the motivation to say, hey, Mass Influence, we're going to do this again.
So what was the periodic table of sound?
That was the first. That was the name of Mass Influence first. So there was 6 of us at first, 2 DJs, 4 MCs, 2 DJs, 3 MCs, 4 MCs at the time. And we cut a demo out of Neptune Studios in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yep. Odyssey was from Virginia. Cognito was from the DMV area. So they grew up together. We met them during the freestyle session at my boy's house, because I was still after leaving work, doing my artwork. I would go out to my boy's house, DJ Exact. He was in Y'all So Stupid with us, but he didn't sign on because he was just like, all right, this is y'all too much. Y'all got too much going on. Anyway, so I would go to him and we would record demos. That's just keep me sharp. And I started rewriting again. At the time, I had another friend, Bruce Black, and me and him were sparring partners. He had his solo shit, but we was riding out there together. So we smoked weed together and all that stuff. That was my boy, my right-hand man. So we were all in the crew together. Bruce ended up going to school. Another guy named Ill Skills that was in the crew, he ended up having a child. You know what I'm saying? Red Assassin, which was one of the other DJs, he got married. And it just boiled down to just me, Odyssey, Nito, and DJ Exact at the time. You know what I'm saying? And then we just decided that let's put our monies together. And after the demo, we shot the demo to Payday. Dino at the time was there, I believe. He was like, yo, I like this shit. Can you give me some more? We was like, fuck, we gotta go pay for more studio time, drive up to Virginia, because that was the only person we trusted, the engineer that we had up there, we trusted with the sound to get the sound like we wanted. And we was like, fuck. So we got to gather more money up, and it took a minute, you know what I'm saying? You're talking about thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? In between what the bills we was paying. We cut another joint, we cut another demo, and at that time, Dino was like, all right, my roster's full. Yo, just keep calling me. And I forgot that's how the industry worked. And in my mind at the time, I was like, this industry, I don't like this waiting the start part. Nah, we 4 men. Let's put our monies together. We'll get there faster. We can do this. Let's look up how the fucking much this shit costs. And that's when we was like, okay, Mass Influence became a conglomerate. You know what I'm saying? Because Nito had the nonstop hip hop clothing wear. He got the Afro face on there. He was already had his clothing thing going. Tone was a b-boy and producer as well. We just put out. It just made sense, And we said we're gonna roll the dice on ourselves.
So coming off of Y'all So Stupid, and now you're doing, the Mass Influence. What direction were you guys going in, or like you in particular? What direction were you going in as far as the type of music you're going to put out as Mass Influence?
I was going to stay with grassroots hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. They was going to stay East Coast boom bap, if they
Okay.
call it boom bap. For me, it was sampling. It was never. I was never going to change that. We went even deeper with the samples. You know what I'm saying? And the dope thing about that was like, I was like, I'm not going to convert because the hardcore, the 94 at this time we're talking about what's the time frame? All right, so you end of 93, 94, end of
NWA and all that.
so Mass Influence periodic table of sound formed in the beginning of '94. So I had a couple of months of a hiatus of being recording before I ran into the rest of these guys during that freestyle session. But we recorded periodical table of sound demos during '94. 90 end of '94, the guys dropped off, and then we said, all right, let's change the name to Mass Influence. '95, we started, taking that part more serious. But the direction that we wanted to go in, I was like, I'm not going to abandon where I started with Y'all So Stupid. I'm going to be me. You know what I'm saying? I was just older, but I wasn't going to go, because hardcore hip hop had taken over. It was just like super hard. The East Coast was like, yeah, nigga, keep it real. The Live Squad was knocking niggas out on the stage and shit like that. Wetlands was fucking crazy. It was a madhouse. Niggas was getting punched in the face at the goddamn source magazine. Yo, man, shit was real, right? So I said, I'm not going that route. I'm gonna be me. This is hip hop. We're gonna represent the art, the beats and the rhymes. Fuck that, with no attitudes about it. And Tone was on that page. He was totally with it. Nito was on that page, and we ran with that.
Was your first release live from Mitchell Street?
Wow. Okay. The first release was a 12-inch. It was Life to the MC and Under Pressure. We ordered. We got 2,000 records of it. Man, let me tell you how wet behind the ears we was. 2,000 records comes back to your crib in boxes. That shit takes up fucking space. And then we're like, all right, so we know a couple of DJs in Atlanta that spin hip hop. All right, boom, 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 you got it. Now, how the fuck we gonna get the rest of these rid of the rest of these records? Man, we put a couple in an assignment on Earwax Records, a couple at Tape Masters that sold hip hop. But then you talk about 10 more records. All right, here we got 1,900 some more records. How we gonna fucking move this shit? How do people move these records? This is pre-internet, all this other stuff. Nito was like, yo, I gotta go get this record to somebody else outside of Atlanta. This sound can't do nothing for us. We can only do something for it. He was on that page coming from DC. He was on that page right then and there. So he took the record up to New York, gave Vasanelli a copy, and they was like, yo, you need to come back when Bobito is here. Give him one. You know what I'm saying? Stretch, you know what I'm saying? If you can catch him at the show, you catch him at the club, good, you can catch him. You know what I'm saying? So he came back to catch Bob, and Bob was like, Bob played it. He was like, it's all right, I'm gonna see if Stretch like it. You know what I'm saying? And he gave it to Stretch. Stretch was like, yeah, I like this song. And he put it on his mixtape, and he licensed it. And then he was like, Stretch was the first one that liked us. And he was like, yo, y'all got some more shit, send it to me. That was the first thing. Live from Mitchell Street was actually an EP. It was a combination of the first two singles that we put. So those were 5 songs altogether with something else. Okay, that was supposed to get released over in Germany with Cup of Tea Records, but they didn't. It panned out. That folded before they could do it. So that's what Live from Mitchell Street was. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say. So then, that EP comes out around 98, 97, 98.
So the first 12-inch comes in. Yeah, the first 12-inch comes in. Oh man, 96, 7, 97. Life to the MC comes out 97. All right, so yeah, okay. So to get rid of the records, Stretch, after he put it on his tape, he was like, "Yo, look, niggas like this shit. We need it in the store at Fat Beats. Send us some for consignment." We was like, "All right, cool." We sent them some, and he was like, "All right, cool. They sold out. You sent us 20 of them. They sold out. Here's the money for them. We need some more." And I was like, and then Nito was like, "Well, we actually got like fucking 1,800 more of these bitches at our crib." And that's when Joe at Fat Beats, he was like, man, check this out. We send you a PO, send them shit to us, and we'll work this out. The motherfuckers move. We was like, holy shit. That's when we found out about distribution. And Joe was the king of distribution on the underground tip. So Joe was like, yo, I don't do no promotions. I don't fucking do no road trips. I don't get you no shows. I don't put you in no magazines. That's all your business. I could put you in stores. Now, if you can get this shit moved out of stores, cool. We was like, bet. So what would we call that? He was like, this is a distribution deal. We can actually work something out to where you don't have to press it, send it to us. You can just make the music, make your labels, you know what I'm saying? Do your promotions. And you produce the product and we'll fucking get it pressed for you and distribute it to the stores and we'll break from there. And I was like, this is about the fairest damn thing ever going in the game. Once that shit hit, now we started moving on to, you know, we cut the second, we did the second single. And this one Bobito liked. He liked the Clown Syndrome. He was like, oh my God, this is my fucking song. We was like, okay. And he was like, and I didn't realize how much it was his fucking song. This dude promoted this shit everywhere the fuck he went. He just kept on playing and putting it in front of other people. That shit kept on moving, kept on moving, kept on moving. They read up and kept on re up. I was like, holy shit. And they was like, yo, so what's up? Y'all got an album? And that's when, you know, Bobito was hooking us up with tours overseas. He hooked us up, put us on a bill with arsonists. There was a point where we was like paired up with the arsonists everywhere they was. And we had heard about them and, you know, we seen them at Rocksteady. We was like, this crew is fucking mad. This is where I'm talking about, that shit. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, there was 8 of them niggas, right? Tony Touch had just left the group, but he was still, you know, overseeing them. You know what I'm saying? And Company Flow was coming to play. Raucus was coming to play. We started doing promotions for Raucus down in Atlanta. That started linking us through all of their artists. So now we're hanging out with Kweli and Most Def and Company Flow. That's what the pictures on my pages. They're coming down to Atlanta for the first time. We linked up with Lyricist Lounge, started bringing that outside of New York to Atlanta, and this was opening the scene up. So we was doing this so that we could create a lane for us to move around Atlanta since nobody else was doing it at that time. And you're talking about, like you said, 96, 97, 98, you know what I'm saying? Which was still a slow Atlanta. And that union, Bobito, Raucus Records, Fat Beats, was a whirlpool in Atlanta. And it was moving things around, and you started seeing other groups come to the city, and it was creating a scene in the city and made something else that you wasn't seeing with Outkast, with Goody Mob, Lil Jon, and everything, Ludacris, and everything that you started seeing in the forefront. There was actually an underground scene in Atlanta, and it by way of that.
Okay. So now that leads up to you guys working on the underground science,
Yes,
the buzz and everything, all that momentum that was happening from that. Now you guys
yes.
say, let's work on, okay.
Cut
Okay.
this album, yes. And
All
so
right.
DJ Drama, you see, he was at this time also another person who evolved
Right,
from
right, right.
our crew. You know what I'm saying? He was doing the cuts because
Mhm.
X had his foot as Southern hip hop and all that trap music and all the crunk music started evolving. Like I said, X is the king of Decatur, king of the strip club. He had his foot in that scene heavy as well. So he couldn't be running with us 24/7, you know what I'm saying, and in that shit at the same time. But he was still trying to bridge the gaps, you know what I'm saying? It was two different worlds. So so we had so X wasn't able to do his part. Um we had damn, I'm pointing I was trying to make about the damn DJs. Anyway, um we started recording the album and DJ Drama comes in to fill in for X and do the cuts and stuff. And then he at the same time is starting to get into let his mixtapes go off at the same time. He forms the affiliates. And so now our music is going through his channel, you know what I'm saying, at the same time. But he was all hip hop for the most part. And then we put the album together um, with a guy that we was doing Typhoon, DJ Typhoon and the Boulevard Connection, who Bobito had plugged us into as an overseas touring link, which would became another family of ours to this day. Copenhagen is like the next home base for us. You know what I'm saying? Like we got out there and they just pushed us every fucking where. You know what I'm saying? And you never realize how big the world is until you get there. You know,
Right, right.
so he pushed us in that circuit, and then they was like, "Yo, look, if you're gonna put this album out, we had the songs recorded." They was like, "We can since you have a huge core audience overseas from performing over here a lot, and the crowd that you have is bigger over here, and you don't have to fight with the circuit in the States." You know what I'm saying? As an independent person, why don't you put that shit out over here and just keep working the circuit over here? And when we was realizing that the scene out there was so massive, and Arsonist and Company Flow and everybody that we respected on the underground tip was out there already too. So we was like, shit, this makes sense. We still got the real circuit out here. So we said, yeah, let's do it. And man, it was great. It was great. It was great.
Dope.
It was great. It was organic. So what the rap life I didn't get to live, as y'all so stupid, I got to live that here. And let me tell you, every fucking show we did, there was people coming up with a y'all so stupid record. I know this is you. This is you signed this. I love this record. And I was like, yo, me and X was sitting. He was like, who's in y'all so stupid from this crew? And then, Tone and Nito would always be like, them. And then, X, who didn't want to be in the videos. Because when the camel showed up, he was like, nah, that ain't me, so I ain't doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? On 85 South. And then when we went out west, he was like, nah, I ain't fucking with y'all niggas. Y'all niggas on some other shit. But he's like, man, but you produced the album, and you talking shit all over the album. How come you ain't gonna get in the video? Here with Mass Influence, he was like, all right, now y'all doing something, I'll be official, but I ain't fuck with y'all now. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to go and be on the road with us and go everywhere with us and be in part of the Mass Influence.
Right.
Ain't that something? My buddy, some tiny ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? But that's all right. That's my nigga.
So you guys started on the second album that was never released?
Yeah, it's called it was called The Ism, Intellect Street Music. Actually, it was finished, you know what I'm saying? And the crew broke up over me and Nito fell out. And it was always some petty shit, you know what I'm saying? It's super petty. We friends now, been friends for many years, you know what I'm saying? But we fell out first. The core of the group fell out. So Tone, he was next in line. He was like, yo, y'all got static, you know what I'm saying? Fuck it. I'm gonna go work on my solo shit. You know what I'm saying? We can't fight this out and it's not gonna be the same, you know what I'm saying? But we did finish the album. We just never turned it in. Amir was calling us all the time. He's like, yo, give me this damn album. I was like, yeah, I give it to you, but we won't be able to work it as a group and move it off your shelf. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We won't be able to get out there. The crew is disbanded.
Right. So that was about 20 years ago. So catch us up on what H2O has been up to over the past 2 decades.
Lots of artwork. I record a lot of albums. I record a lot of material with other groups in Atlanta. Count Bass D, I'm on like 4 of his albums. That's my man. He moved to Atlanta, and I found out he was a fan of Yawson's group. I always thought he was trolling me or something because he's so explicit. He's just unique about his thing, and he rolls solo. But I had known him from that time because he was on Sony. Anyway, he was like, "Yo, man, get on this album. Yo, man, get on this album. Yo, I got this shit. I'm gonna put you on." And he kept me moving. Collective efforts. I got on the records with him. A lot of independent, groups in Atlanta. I was working with them who released records.
Let me
So
ask you, let me kind of cut you off. Did you ever bump into Doom out in Atlanta?
yes, Doom. Okay, I never worked with him. Okay, now everybody, Count worked with him. Star, that's her brother. She's like my sister to me, but I never worked with him. You know what I'm saying? I had actually met him before he submitted his thing, his work for Operation Doomsday. You know what I'm saying? When he was way out somewhere, him and I think it wasn't Grimm. I'm not sure. He was stuck in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? In a bad situation, and the industry had left a bad taste in his mouth, and he was like super bitter. You know what I'm saying? You could tell. You know what I'm saying? Where the doom the mask came from. You know what I'm saying? Like at that time when I saw him living, he was like in this apartment. I know it was him and his wife, you know what I'm saying? And he was just like mad at the world. And I was like, damn, that's love. Holy shit. That's who he was to me. You know what I'm saying? He looked like him still. You can't take his face from it. You know what I'm saying? It's before he started the mask. but like we never worked on nothing together. And I never thought he was gonna do anything, other than just I'm down here, I'm laying low key, fuck this shit, I don't want to never touch it again. He was on that, and then the next thing I know, this nigga he pulled together some of the Atlanta cats that I knew. He formed, he formed his little mini label. He started sending his shit to Bob. You know what I'm saying? Bob started putting his shit out, and then started circulating them. And he got out the house, and then he formed the villain. He said, "You know what? I'm never taking no L's no more. Y'all will." And when that nigga started sending the imposter to the stage shows, I was like, "This is next level." Niggas getting paid a whole full show and got somebody going to collect the money. He ain't even on stage.
Dope. I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah. So continue about what you've been up to.
Okay, so our artwork, you know what I'm saying? That's what artwork, and recently, about 4 years ago, photography, I started picking that up, and I was like, um, I had always been intrigued by photography, since our first photo shoot with Glennie Friedman, who had taken all the pictures for like everybody, LL, Public Enemy, album covers, all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? And like he really left a huge impression on me. And I decided that, 4 years, I'm gonna go spend my next time getting in rooms with people, you know what I'm saying, for one reason, people that I know, you know what I'm saying, and then, networking other things while I'm there with them. But portrait photography is something that I wanted to get into because I like talking to people. And it's crazy when you get somebody behind a camera and find out a lot of things that they know, you know what I'm saying? And when they're sitting there and you're talking and you show them pictures of themselves and they go, oh shit, and you deal with intelligent lighting and all this other stuff. There's a definite science to it that intrigues me there. And then I got my artwork. But music wise, I make beats, you know what I'm saying? To keep myself sharp. I got more samples than motherfucker those, and they still ain't found them. You know what I'm saying? And I know that. So a lot of times internally I sit here and laugh, you know what I'm saying? Because like, it's the best thing that you can have. You try to share. You can't really talk to people about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Even, most of the cats from our range don't know a lot of music that's out there right now. And I'm not talking about the shit that we see all over the blogs and all over stuff. Like talking about real rap, real shit that still just continues to come out and still ill and still dope. And they don't know because, they're detached from it. So a lot of times it goes inward with me musically, and it's so much that you have to put into it for the little bit of time. Like I'd have to fucking make like 100 joints to stay relevant for a year.
Right.
And
was your last project with Dylan, the Blues Brothers?
damn, okay, look at stuff. Actually, all right, so Dylan, that's my dog. All right, so he scripted that whole thing. I just really got contracted as a fucking actor in that joint, and that's his whole vision. And actually, when we do the stage show, we show up with the suits and the whole damn thing, and the stage show he got put on. It's fun as hell. It's like fun shit. But no, after that, I had a album that I recorded with DJ Pocket. It's called "Stay in Your Lane." It's H2O and DJ Pocket. Pocket was Count's homeboy, and they did records together. They got many albums that they did together. So that's my man, and we did an album together, back and forth and whatnot. So that would be the last full project I did, Yeah, but the last time I got on a record probably was Collective Efforts. They out of Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So
hey, what about that?
yeah, dope.
That's all. There's Bill. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You know what I'm saying? You're like, you think nobody can give a fuck or care or even remember or even know anything. You don't know until you start sitting in a room with people.
Yeah. Hey, we gotta, that's what we do, man. If
Nah,
not us, then who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. How about that? Because the next generation, I don't know, what they're gonna have. I don't know what memories they're gonna have. They're dying off so fast. They don't even respect each other as elders. Like, Rich Homie Quan is like old school to this class now. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, damn, nigga, he just came out. So how the fuck is he an old head to y'all? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, son.
Yeah, this
What y'all gonna be talking about?
It's
You
crazy.
know?
For those
Yeah,
keeping, go ahead, E.
no, I just want to
Yeah.
ask you real quick. Along the lines of what you just said now, man, do you ever get like worried or like nervous, like, damn, man, there might come a time where like none of this is gonna even exist. Like, you think, like, you know what I mean? Like the hip hop that we knew or know, like that's not even gonna exist anymore.
Never. You know why I think it won't? Because like, all right, there's just more levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like there's layers, to everything. You know what I'm saying? There's the foundation. And as the foundation, you know what I'm saying, just one foundation passes on, there's another level to it, there's another level to it, but on top of those foundations, other layers keep getting built. You know what I'm saying? And so people don't like to be uncreative, even though the world is designed to keep people unambitious and uncreative and obedient. And hip-hop came because of that much pressure. I see happening that people just gonna get so pressed by the dumbness and sit there and go, yo, why the fuck have I just been using one part of my brain so long? After all these niggas, look what's happening to them. They done went so dumb and so ignorant and so gangster and so real and done killed each other, spitting and shit. You can't shit on a nigga's grave while he's alive and all this other stuff. There's no more epitome to the death of the rap until these guys going to jail, locked up. They all gone. And right? And so
Right.
now they're gonna implode and beat themselves until they remember their creative brain. You know what I'm saying? And then it'll, this overwhelm. It's like the curtain moves, and then now you see, all right, cool. Here is where we were. Here's where we started. Do I think instruments is gonna come back and like bands playing? I don't know, because that's something that gets taught in school. That's something that as a hobby they start young and then they get ambitious and form a group. You know what I'm saying? You don't just get old and like, oh, I want to play the guitar and I want to go find me a fucking drummer and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's part of that. I don't know if we're gonna have that part, but as far as hip hop, because everything is so accessible and everything, I think you're gonna get another wave of pushing back, because like we had with the raucous era, you know what I'm saying, Jay-Z had fucking dominated this, like you couldn't buy a drink that was more expensive than the motherfucker shoes he was spilling the shit on. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, all right, cool, how much more money can we talk about? Bam, here comes another wave of motherfuckers pushing lyricism. They like, yo, we don't got the money, we got skills though, because in the end of the day, all you got is what you have. People will remember that. And I think you'll get more of a pushback, and I think you'll get more of a big, resurgence of it. You know what I'm saying? And people get more aware and more smart. You know what I'm saying? You got white kids growing up with hip hop, like all they know is, they know Edan, you know what I'm saying? Atmosphere, you know what I'm saying? All they growing up to is listening to bars, like intelligent bars. You know what I'm saying? And when the day starts that they want to rap or spit a verse or whatever, or it becomes cool for them to come back out. Because remember when Eminem and all these guys started coming out, white kids rapping was a phenomenon. They was like, yo, I got and they had bars that would smoke your moms. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't step to one of these motherfuckers. They knew their lines. It was very robotic and had they choppy shit to it, but they had intricate bars. And I got to bring that to it, because this is where they were. This is their inception to the shit, and this is the level that they were with it. That shit didn't just go away. It's just, the mainstream radio just put a blanket over their face or pull the wool over their eyes. And then after that shit goes away, you know what I'm saying? And people over their eyes, they go, hey, I used to get worried, because it just seemed like, when the mumble rap started coming out, it just seemed like they was just getting dumber and dumber and dumber.
Right.
You know,
Gotcha.
For
do you
those
guys
who have
worry about
been,
it?
I, yeah, I mean, just
Yeah.
a little bit. I still have up to. I always say the end of the golden era was '98 for me personally. So I have all those great memories. I always, I mean, but as far as new, it's kind of it's scarce.
Far and few
You,
between.
you know what I would just, and I'll keep it short. I just would like to see that somehow um the foundation, right? Like when we're talking about the what we consider the culture of hip hop,
Yeah.
right? I just wish that somehow that would still be relevant as far as not saying that I'm expecting, like kids to just want to go out and get windbreakers and start breaking on the cardboard. Not that,
Mhm.
but to at
Yeah,
least that it's in the forefront of
yeah,
let me learn about it. Oh,
yes,
that's who the New York City Breakers were. Oh, that's what they did. This was
yeah.
the first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the only thing that I worry about. That I don't want it to be forgotten.
Washed away. Okay,
That
now when you
that's
put it
that,
in that,
yeah.
yeah, when you put it,
That's
you
what
put
I.
that,
Mhm.
okay, now that we can worry about because, like you said, if you don't, who will? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to act on it? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people do things because they need the views and they need the, you know what I'm saying? They're going to go with what's going to bring the numbers because they need the money to be, driven by it. You guys you got other ways that you make money, you know what I'm saying? But this shit is like you have to do, you compelled to do this, does something for you internally. This is where you at. You spend most of your life here. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you're not just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna get old, fuck that shit. I don't do that no more. Right? You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So like it is up to you, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, hip hop does eat its elders.
So just also real quick, like I made like the way the analogy that I use is for example, like we had like our grandmothers, our grandfathers, right? Maybe your great grandmother.
Hmm.
That as you're growing up, they would tell you stories about things or teach you about certain things, the things that they learned as they were growing. And then
Yeah.
we get older and we would carry on some of these traditions, right? So that's the part that I worry about, that we're getting older, we're losing, we're lucky to still have a lot of the pioneers around and stuff that we can still have access to. But
Yeah.
what happens once your grandmother passes away, and if you don't pass that on to your kids, at some point those
Mm,
traditions and stuff, you know what I mean, it's not going to be in
mm,
that household anymore. So that's the
yeah.
point where I go with.
Yeah. Now, when you put it that way, as far as the internal passing on to the kids, because that's the only way they come across the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, because there's no radio stations in their face. There's no, I'm not even radio stations. There's just no immediate, blatant outlet for them screaming over the mainstream shit. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to jump into the YouTube circuit, the TikTok circuit. There's no gateway that just comes in and says, here's a train coming through this time every day. You're going to see this shit go by. It's
Mm,
got graffiti, hip hop, and all this shit coming on, and you're going to see it at least. You can ignore it all you want. You're going to see it. And I get you there, and if we're not promoting it in the household because there's a lot of people in my age range. Honestly, the motherfuckers is dumbed out by the radio. To see motherfuckers 50 years old fucking playing, you know what I'm saying, the shit that they playing, I go, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
right,
what is
right,
up?
right,
You know what I'm saying? And there's a divide there. And that's only because they work jobs. They listen to what the only way they hear music is on the radio. They actually turn the radio on and listen that way. Or they listen to, they put on a Spotify channel. But what's gonna cloud that? They're gonna start you with Drake, gonna hit you with some motherfucking Kanye. You know what I'm saying? You're never gonna go below the surface. You know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right,
And
right.
they're never gonna go, oh shit, who was that? Chances are they on the phone, you know what I'm saying, talking about the kids, moms, some other shit. They're not really paying attention to it. It's just music playing. And then they get out the car, go home, you know what I'm saying? And the day goes and there's no conduit, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't continue. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, we'll play the music for our kids. They know what time it is. Motherfuckers hear me making beats, chopping records and all that shit. Our kids will know, but right. What happens to the new people coming into the game that just get exposed to this shit just because it's around in the environment, walking and living and talking?
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, that
Crazy.
is something to man.
Ponder.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
bring you down that much.
Nah, I'm not mad. I'm just
But
yeah.
if we don't talk about it, though, we'll just go on another day without thinking about it, and again, time will go by us. But let's get the spirits back up, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
So for
all good.
everybody keeping up with H2O, what can we expect from you in the future?
I'm going to do another album that I've been working on. Like I said, I got those beats, you know what I'm saying, and I've been recording. But this one, you know what I'm saying, the album will be called The Bad Influence. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take the Mass Influence logo and bend it out because I believe I am the bad influence in Mass Influence. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, that means, my wife, she always tells me, she's like, you always telling people what they want to hear. I said, no, people don't want me to tell them what I should tell them, you know what I'm saying? But they hear what they want to hear. So I tell them that because in the end of the day, when I know when somebody asks me something, you can tell as a listener, I know when somebody's turns you off, you know what I'm saying? You give them, they ask you for advice on something, you know, and you give it to them, and they go, "Nah, I ain't what I want to hear," or "Nah, you don't know what you're talking about," or you know when the connection breaks. So I spend with my friends, many of my friends that want to cycle things in their life and don't want to move past it, don't know how to fucking get over themselves or out of their own way. I go, yeah, man, you should do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell them if they come up with some bad idea, I go, you know what? You should do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, though. And I come up with ideas for them to go hard at the bad shit they're thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Because let's get on with it. You know what I'm saying? Go for it. Yeah, do it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And most of my album is more of the, more of the position of that guy. You know what I'm saying? That you don't listen to, that you don't want to hear from, has some sound shit to say, actually has gone through a lot of things. I'm not the preacher, but here, let me tell you what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? And not in the realm of like I'm talking about cards, like really on a social level, like these conversations I really have with my friends. And
Dope.
my wife was telling me, so it's an introspective thing, but it's gonna be funky.
Where can the people keep up with you at on social media?
Social media, you can keep up with me on. Hey, there we go. That's it. You got me. Yep, on Instagram, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? I don't post there much, but I'm on there operating. I usually do a whole lot of more commenting on other people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like just because you don't see me posting plastering a bunch of shit on there, but on my other one is the underscore H2O underscore slideshow. That's for photography. And all I do is talk to basically photographers, people in that realm. But you H2O artwork, music, rap shit, politics, not so much politics, but rap politics. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. H2O Atlanta. Hit me up. I will jump in your comment section and talk about what you talk about.
Absolutely. We want to thank you so much for this opportunity this evening. Thank you for everything
Yeah.
you've done for the culture. I'll let E in the situation.
Yeah, no, just like Sincere said, man, on behalf of Changing of the Hip Hop Guards, myself, Uncle E, and Sincere, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for the work you've been putting in all these years between the art, music, beats, everything, making an impact on the culture, man, and still doing it. Please continue, man. We look forward to hearing some music from you too, man. I know that doesn't just leave out of your system. So
Oh no.
hit
No,
us
no.
with something here and there, keep it going. And man, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey man, no, thank y'all for being actually you know what I'm saying, you interviewed and had questions. I was like, I didn't think that you was gonna ask. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Hold up, I didn't get a question. Where did you get that fucking sticker from? Hey, where did you get that?
That's a good question. I mean, it's not like something that just happened overnight, but I got
The
like
journalist
tons.
sincere, man.
I
Come
got
on, bro.
tons of stickers. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't begin to tell you where I got that at.
You
All right,
have
check
one
it out.
there?
I got this is the last of that. All right.
Ah,
This is the last
Wow.
of that roll.
I
You know what I'm
s-
saying? Of one of those rolls. Oh shit,
right.
yeah. This is it. Four.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Keep those. Those
So
are
when you
the.
so when you pulled yours out, I said, your shit look better than mine. Hold up.
Yeah.
I said, this dude is on his shit. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
man. So
So
yeah,
yo, man, salute to you. You know what I'm saying? And like
appreciate
salute to you
that.
guys for doing your knowledge beforehand and all that. Like
Hey,
the pleasure was mine.
I want to say thank you to you for taking the time and looking us up, man, and checking out some of our past stuff, man. Not everybody does that. You know what
I
I'm
have
saying?
to. At least I want to know, you know what I'm saying? Like what you guys know, you know what I'm saying? And then I just kept on going and I kept on listening, you know what I'm saying? You know, and
Thank
I'm
you.
just like,
Thank you.
wow. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
it's dope. I really like what y'all do with that Source magazine shit. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
We
Yeah.
Like
just talked about it. Yeah, we got to get
We
back
got to
on it.
get back to that, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
you should because the way y'all break that shit down, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
a side commentary to the joint, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah, yeah.
the time. And if you were from that time and
From
seen
that
it happen,
time.
it's just it does something for you just being narrated. It's like somebody reading a book to you from another angle, and you go,
Right,
this
right, right,
shit
right.
hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Appreciate that.